Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Kieran aka The Laird here, and I've got a book review for you as usual on a Wednesday. And I've been saying recently that I've got absolutely tons of books to work through, and I have, and a mix of new and old stuff. And here's one of the new ones recently out, Missile Commander by Tony Temple, with a foreword by Dave Thurer. And as you probably guessed already, this is a book about the game Atari arcade game Missile Command. Title kind of gives it away. I'll go into the specifics of it in a moment. But for those who may not be aware, Dave Thurer was the guy who created the original Missile Command arcade game. And Missile Command is a game that has a very special place in my heart as well as the author's heart, as I'll just mention, because I probably rank it as one of my top 10 games of all time. I absolutely adore it. And how I first played it was in this form, just here, the Atari 2600 version. Bit of a battered box I've got there, but yeah, that was the first. My first experience of Missile Command was the Atari 2600 version, believe it or not the arcade game. I don't know how I didn't play or see the arcade game, because I can remember playing lots of other games that were contemporary to that came out around the same time in the arcades. Stuff like Centipede and Asteroids and Pole Position. Um, Stuff that Atari released in that same time period. So I'm not really sure how I never saw a Missile Command arcade game, but I didn't. And the first time I played it, as I say, was on the Atari 2600. I absolutely loved it in that form. And then I bought it for lots of other systems, right up to Missile Command 3D on the Jaguar, which is my favourite version of Missile Command, one of my favourite games of all time, because it contains the original arcade game on it, as well as a kind of 3D update, and then the VR mode, which was actually intended to work with the unreleased Jaguar VR helmet. That's on there as well, and that's absolutely brilliant and easily one of the most impressive games on the Jaguar. I'll come back to the home versions in a little while, but this is just a couple of the ones I own. I've also got the Lynx version. I've also got the Atari 8-bit version, which is built into my XE game system. So I have got Missile Command on quite a few different systems. I've probably got clones of it for stuff like I think I've got the ST version. Yeah, I've got that one as well. I think I've got some clones of it for the Spectrum and systems like that as well. But anyway, let's get on to the book. So Tony Temple, you might know, is Guinness World Record holder for the Missile Command arcade game. And that is pretty much what this book is actually about. It's about his journey from the first time he played it and fell in love with it to becoming a world champion. It's all pretty much on the back there. It's a memoir of one player's 40-year journey with Atari's legendary arcade title Missile Command, which takes him from a rundown cafe as a teenager, weighed down with the fears of nuclear Armageddon, to finally being crowned the best player in the world by the Guinness World Records. So, and then his experiences along the way. So if you're expecting a book with lots of pictures, this isn't it, because this is more of a kind of autobiographical book. It is hardback, as you can see. Tony Temple is actually British, which I didn't realise until I spoke to him. He is actually British. So this was easy for me to order. It came within days, which is great. I got it so quickly I couldn't believe it. After actually one of my friends, Kat Despira, alerted me to its availability. So thanks, Kat, for the heads up. I ordered it almost as soon as she told me about it. So let's go into the inside. So first of all, Tony signed it for me, which is great. He spelt my name wrong, but I'll forgive him. Most people spell my name wrong, so it's not really unusual to see that, but there we go. So what we got? So obviously it's split into lots of different chapters. Actually, this is the second edition. Okay, didn't realise that. So it was originally printed in 2020. It says there. I wasn't aware of that. But yeah, so it's split into lots of different chapters. That goes right from when you first played it up to the present day. So there's the foreword by the one and only Dave Thurer, who created Missile Command. He also created Tempest and lots of other great games for Atari. And to kind of give you a run through, so obviously a lot of it's text, but there are pictures in there. So, for example, I'm trying to get a page with a picture on now. So there's some prototype drawings from Atari. But there's stuff that's actually like that's to do with the game. So, for example, there's a lovely picture of a fully restored Missile Command cab. And there's some pictures of the insides and stuff as well. So there is quite a few photos. There are all in colour as well, as you can see. But there's also some quite personal stuff in there as well. So if I can find a few good examples I wanted to show, actually, if I can find them. This was interesting, actually, while I'm there. It's a fly for the Japanese version, which was released by Taito, which I didn't realise, cocktail cabinet. So it was one of the many new things that I learned reading this. Another, actually, thing that was particularly interesting here is it's got a chapter about Atari Island, which not many speak about. It's quite a uncovered story, actually, in Atari folklore, because Atari did actually have a factory in Ireland, where they built arcade games. They built Atari 2600s there as well. Hence, there's the 2600 that's called the Black Irish, which I have actually looked at in a video. So what I'll do is I'll link that video up in the top right hand corner for anyone who's interested in the Black Irish, because that was manufactured over in Ireland, which was really cool. I think Namco took that factory over later on. There's some stuff about Super Missile Attack, which was the illegal enhancement board, which was created by GCC and led to a big lawsuit from Atari, and actually eventually led to GCC developing arcade games for Atari and the 7800 console. So that was pretty cool. There's something good came out of that naughtiness. Where's the picture I wanted to find? So yeah, so for example there, he's got a picture of a cafe that he first played Missile Command in, Rita's Cafe, which I believe is in Bristol. It's quite cool to see. I lived not very far from Bristol at all, actually, and used to go into Bristol quite a lot some years ago, so I do know the area a little bit. So it's always nice to see someone talking about a part of the country where I lived and that I have some experience of myself. There we go. There's a bit about the records. So there he's got a table there that shows his record compared to other people's. There it's the top 8. There we go, people there, which is pretty cool. Some achievement. I can't get anywhere near the scores he can get. I'm pretty good at Missile Command, but I can't get anywhere near his scores. There's a Guinness Book of Records certificate. And there we go, there's a photo of him with the famous Walter Day from Twin Galaxies. So there we go. And that's it really. There's not really obviously a lot more to tell you because there's not loads I can show you because it's mostly an autobiographical book, as I said. But I've really enjoyed reading it. I've had it for a few weeks now. I wanted to make sure that I did this review after I'd read it. I did tell Tony that I was going to do a review of it, so if he's wondering where it was, it's because I wanted to read the book first. I don't often read a lot of books. I'm not a big reader, I have to say. Mainly the time I do it actually is if I go on holiday. I do like reading on the beach because I get too bored on the beach. My wife loves it, but I get bored. So I quite often take books to read on the beach, but that's really the only time I do it, to be honest. It's not something I do when I'm at home, but I really enjoyed reading this book. It was brilliant. It helps that I have such a huge interest in Atari and Missile Command myself. So for that reason, I found it absolutely fascinating. So yeah, if you're a fan of Atari and if you're a fan of Missile Command, then you'll probably find it fascinating too. The only thing I may perhaps wish it had, it's not really a criticism because it doesn't quite fit with what the book is, but it would have been quite nice if he'd actually done a chapter talking about maybe the home conversions of Missile Command, if he played them, what he thought about them compared to the arcade game, if he tried to set records on home versions as well. That might have been quite nice to have included something about the home versions in there. Perhaps if he does another revision, maybe you can consider putting that in, because I think that would be pretty cool. There's some really good home versions out there, and obviously there's home versions that add something different to the arcade game, like Missile Command 3D on the Jaguar and Super Missile Command on the Atari Lynx. So yeah, I think there's an update Missile Command on like the PlayStation or something as well, if I remember rightly. I could be wrong, but I think there is. Yeah, that's it really. Apart from that minor niggle that I was hoping to see something about the home versions in there, it's a brilliant book, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So if you want one, you can. I'll drop a link in the comments of where you can order it from. I think it was from Tony's own website, if I remember rightly. And go get yourself a copy now, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And thank you for watching my review of Missile Commander. And I'll see you all again for another video very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.